Hi guys, this is Shivarati. Welcome to the GitHub tutorial. In this session, I am going to explain introduction to the GitHub, creating repositories on the GitHub, and creating branches in GitHub repository, and clone source code from the GitHub repository to your local computer, and pushing your local code changes to GitHub repository, and merging the branches in GitHub repository and tagging. So we are going to see all these topics in detail in this session. First, let us go ahead and see what is a GitHub. So GitHub is a development platform inspired by the way you work. From the open source to business, you can host and review the code, manage the projects, and build software along with the millions of the other developers. So GitHub is going to be very famous nowadays to for the hosting the open source projects, because when multiple developers are contributing towards an open source projects, then GitHub is going to be a free of cost for the public deployed projects. But if any projects related to the commercial, then it requires the license, and you need to pay some amount for that. So in order to work with the GitHub, first thing is, in order to work with the either it is a public or private to create a repository, first you need to create a account in the GitHub. In order to create a account in GitHub, first you need to sign up for in the github.com. So click on this sign up. Once you click on this sign up, it will ask for the few required details to complete your profile. So provide them, so that the GitHub is going to provide a going to create an account for you. So I already created my account, and the username is Siva Java Techie. So once you created a GitHub account, you can log in using your credentials. I already created, so I am able to log in the GitHub. So once you log into the GitHub, first you need to, in order to create a project in your GitHub, first you need to create a new repository. In order to create a new repository, click on this plus symbol, and here you have an option to new repository. Or when you are login automatically, you will see that new repository symbol here at the button. So click on this new repository. So once you click on this new repository, it will ask for, it is going to it will give you a page to create the new repository. So first you need to provide the repository name, so that I am going to give as a GitHub repository, and you can give some description about this repository, why you are creating this repository. So I am giving, this is for the demo purpose, and this is what I am talking about. If you are deploying any public projects, that means open source project, then you can mark this as a public. This is a free of cost. But if you want anything related to like a private, then you have to pay some amount for this based on the your project requirement. Hence, as I am giving, this is for the demo purpose, I am selecting this as a public. And while creating this repository, if you want to initialize with the default branch, that is a master, then you can check this option, initialize this repository with a readme. So what happens is, once you click on this create repository, it is going to create a empty repository with adding this readme dot file to the your default branch, that is the master. So I am clicking on the create repository. Now now GitHub is going to create a repository, that is GitHub. This is the repository just now we created. And when you create a empty repository, also by default it is going to create a branch called as a branch called as a master. So if you see here, this is the branch it has created, and as we want the readme also as part of the creation of this empty repository, that is the reason it has added this readme.md file. Now you have successfully created a branch called as a master, and now in order to work on this project, first what developer has to do is, they have to clone this particular branch to their local. So in order to clone this code to the local, what you have to do is, you need to get the cloning of the URL, or there are two options. One, you can download this as a zip file, or you can clone this to your local. So I am using clone option. So in order to clone it, first you need to go to your local computer where you want to clone it, and right click on it. So here you can see a git bash here. By default, if you don't install the git software in your local computer, then you don't see this option. So hence, first you need to download the latest version of the git yeah, to your local computer, then you can go to any folder, right click on it, then you can see that git bash option here. So once you see this option, click on here, and then you can see git, you can issue the command git clone, and you can provide the clone URL whatever you get from the this repository. So for this you have given this is the clone URL. So as this you can copy here and click enter. Now it is going to copy entire copy of the server for this repository to your local. Now if you go and see this particular folder, that is a GitHub repo, then you can see whatever the copy it is, whatever the data or the code available on the master branch on the GitHub repository will be same as in your local. So first go to your branch, whatever it is the branch you have created is GitHub repo, GitHub repo, and if you see, sorry, cd GitHub repo. And now if you issue the status command, you can see git status, then it will say that on branch master, your branch is up to date with the origin/master and nothing to commit, working directory is clean. So now if I go to the Windows folder GitHub repo, you can see that the file whatever you have the readme.md file and .git, because whenever you clone from the GitHub repository, automatically the it will consider this as a GitHub repository. That is the reason you will see .git file here. So readme file is the file which it is now whatever the GitHub repo, whatever it is on the local computer is same as the whatever the copy it is available on the GitHub. Now first what we are going to do is we are going to add some files to your local, and then we are going to push these changes to the GitHub repository. So in order to add the file, first what I am going to do is I am going to add one file here, that is add one, this is add one file to master, master. Okay, so now I am going to save this file. Once I add this file, now I go to git and it will say git status. If you see here, as when you clone this particular repository, particular branch from the GitHub repository or local, automatically this folder will be considered as a Git repository. That is the reason you will see that Git is recognizing this as a untracked file, because we are not added this file to the staging area. So in order to add this file to staging area, you need to issue the command git add one.txt. Now this file will be added to the stage area. If I issue git status command again, you will see that now it is added to the staging, and now you need to commit this file. So what I am going to do, in order to commit, git commit -m added add1.txt file to master. That's it. Enter. Now it has added. Now what happens is, whatever the file we are committed, it is only reflected in the git local git repository or the master branch, whatever it is available in the local, but it will not reflected still in the GitHub repository in the master branch. If I even if I refresh this project, still you do not see whatever the file added one.txt added to the local, you will not see here, because until you push these changes to your GitHub repository, it will not be affected. In order to push these changes, you need to issue the command git push. And now what happens is, it is going to push your local code changes to your GitHub repository. So here you need to provide the credentials. My username is Siva Java Techie, and then you need to give the password for this repository. Clicking enter. Okay, now what happens is, whatever the local code changes you have committed, those will be reflected on this particular branch. Now if you see again, if I refresh this branch or the repo, now you'll see that add1.txt is added to the master branch. So this is how you need to clone your server copy to your local, and then again you can do your development work, and once it completes you can again go back and push the changes to your GitHub repository. Now, in real-time world, what happens is the master branch will have the production ready code. That means it is always available for the production release. That is the reason it is not recommended to work on the master branch. Instead of that, whenever you have any bug fixing or the enhancement, you need to create a separate branch from the master, and you need to implement the fixes or the enhancement in the particular branch, separate branch. Once you done testing, everything works fine, then you need to merge that branch to your master. That is the general practice we have to follow. So that is the reason what I am going to do is I am going to create a separate branch from the master. In order to create a master, so just click on in order to create a separate branch, just click on this master. You will have an option to search or create. Here what I'm going to say is GitHub sub branch. So this is the branch I want to create. If you see here, there is an option to create branch. Just click on here. So now what happens is GitHub sub branch is creating from the master branch. So click on here. Now you can see that it is going to create another branch, that is the GitHub sub branch. So currently it has created this branch, but now if you see here, this is same as the whatever the master branch you have, the data is same, both are same. Okay, so now GitHub sub branch is created from the master branch. That is the reason both having the same copy of the data. Now what you can do is, now you can work on this GitHub sub branch, and you can add your own code or the fixes whatever you want to do for this on this sub branch. And once you have thinking that everything is fine, then you can commit this you can merge this code with the master branch. So first what you need to do, you already created a separate branch. So in order to reflect that branch in your local, what you need to do is git pull. Now what it is pull request is going to do is, whatever the changes it is not there in your local but it is available on the server, it is going to pull to your local repository. Now if I say git status command, now everything will be same. On branch master, your branch is up to date with the origin master, nothing to commit. Now currently we are on the master branch, but now we want to work on the branch that is GitHub sub branch. So in order to switch to that branch, what you need to do is git checkout. You need to give, sorry, this is GitHub sub branch. Now it switches to the GitHub sub branch. So currently whatever the changes you are going to do, it is actually on the GitHub sub branch. So now even if I go here and see, it will be same. Okay, so no difference. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more file here, that is and to, this is and to file, add it to GitHub sub branch. GitHub sub branch. So this is the file we are adding to the GitHub sub branch. So now if I see the git status, you can say that add to is just now added, but that is the reason it is untracked file. So first we need to add this file to the staging area. Issue the command git add to.txt. Now it got staged. If I see get a status, now you can see that new file, it is just added to the staging, but it is not yet committed. So in order to commit, git commit -m added add to.txt file to GitHub sub branch. Now I committed. Now if you see again, this is the branch we just now committed. So these changes are actually now available in our local repository, but this will not available on the remote server where we have created this GitHub sub branch. Even if I refresh this branch, we do not see these changes until you push your local changes to your remote repository. So that is the reason what you need to do is you need to push these changes. Git push. Now it will ask for you for the credentials, that is Siva Java Techie, and you need to give the password. Once you give the password, whatever the changes you have done here, it will be reflected on your GitHub repository. Now if I refresh this um, page, you can see here add2.txt, it just added to the GitHub sub branch. But if I see this main branch, it is this file is not available here. So GitHub repository will have the changes whatever we have done on the sub branch, that is GitHub sub branch. Now let us consider this is in a real-time scenario where you have created a separate branch. All the bug fixing or the enhancement we have done on this branch, you have done on this branch. Now it is ready to merge it to the next. It is ready to merge it to the actual master branch. How we can do it? In order to merge it, what you need to do is you need to do a new pull request, and this request actually for the merging this branch with the master. Okay. Now able to match, these changes can be measured automatically. So it is going, Git can automatically identify if there is any file merge conflicts happens or not. So that is the reason it's saying like it is ready, it is going to able to match it. But here what you can do is, as you are worked on this Git sub branch, you can add some reviewers to your reviewers for this particular want to review with the some architects or the senior or the technical leads. Then using this option reviewers, click on here, then you can select your people from to whom you want to review this request, then you can add the review. And also this is like a assignee to yourself. Even if you want to assign to some people, you can go ahead and assign here. So these are the things before you actually create a pull request or the merge request. You can go ahead and create this one. Okay. So now I am creating a create a pull request. Now what happens is, once this has created a pull request, now if I go to this one will be, if you see here, this branch has no conflicts with the base, so merge can be performed automatically. Now merge full request. If I say merge, right, what happens is this automatically the sub branch changes whatever you have done, it will be merged to the next release. That means a master branch. So I am giving merge pull request and confirm merge. Now what happened is, if you go and see the master branch now, GitHub repo. Now if you see here, now add2.txt, whatever it has added to the Git sub branch, it is available on the master. Okay. So this is how ideally what you are going to do. Always whatever the bug fixing or the enhancement you need to do in the sub branch, then you need to create a merge request, or the once you perform all the testing and implementation done, you can review with your reviewers, and once everything is fine, then you can raise a merge request. Now the owner of that branch or the module owner, they can take the appropriate actions. They have to accept the merge request or reject it. If rejected, again you have to implement the code review comments, and again you need to give a merge request in order to commit your sub branches, the branch changes, whatever your individual branch changes to your master branch. Once this is done, now you are thinking this is a production released code, or you can release this as a you can go ahead and release this as a to the customers, or the production release. In order to do the production release, first you need to do is you need to create a tags for your branch. Okay, I'll show you how to create that tag. Okay, now this is the project I have. So if I go to the branches, these are the branches I have. Now you need to create a tag for it. Where we can create a tag. Yeah, so click on this releases. If you see here tag symbol, click here. And now you need to create a tags. Tag is basically tells you that you are going to have a one version you are releasing to the customer, then you need to tag it so that in future the branches whatever you are going to create it on this you can delete at some point of time, because that will occupy the most space. So that is the reason what you are going to do is you are going to create a tag for it. Once you tag it, then you can delete the branch whatever you no longer required. Okay, so that is the reason create a tag. Create here, click on the create a new release. Once you create a new release, now you can, it will tell you from which branch you want to create the tag. For example, here I already merged to the master, so that is the reason I am going to here give you a version v1.0. So if you recommended the naming convention to the version or the tag, it is always recommended like this. First you need to say v and 1.0 or something. If it is for a QA release or something, then you can prefer like a pre-release. If you see the tagging suggestions, it is common practice to give the prefix version name with the letter V. So some good names will be V1.0, V2.2 or 3.4 or something. And if tag does not meant for the production, add the pre-release version after the version name. For example, V2.0 alpha or beta something. So always follow this standard, so that now what I am going to do is I can create a tag from the GitHub subversion. That is also possible, or the master branch also possible. Once you create a sub branch, you can add the release notes. So this is demo purpose releasing v1.0. This is the, and then you can click on publish this release. Now once you create a tag for this one, now this branch can be deleted because you already tagged to this particular, then they can, here later point of time somebody want to see what is the version or the what is the base version or the source code for this particular version, they can download it from here. So that is the reason if you go to the branches, GitHub repo, and now if you see the branch, you can go ahead and delete this branch actually, because it's already merged, so there is no point of actually keeping this one. So that is how generally we follow, as the master branch is already having the code whatever committed on the GitHub sub branch. So now that branch can be released, that can be deleted, and later point of time somebody wants to see what exactly the GitHub sub branch whatever it has there, then by using this tag they can download the source code of it. So the tags are basically used for the production releases or the pre releases or the QA releases. And once you have tagged this data, and you can at any point of time, first make sure that whatever the changes you have doing in the sub branch always needs to be committed to the master branch, and then you can tag from the master branch or the sub branch. Then once you tag it, it is safe to delete, because we already have, by using the tag you can download the source code at that particular point of time. So this is how you need to that is the complete workflow how you are going to work with the GitHub, and how you are going to download to your local, and in the same vice versa. And also, as earlier I told you, just now what we have done is we have created a branch from the master in the GitHub repository, but it is possible for you to create the branch from the your local, and then you can push back to the GitHub repository. I am going to show you how we can do that. So here what we can do is we are going to switch to the master branch now. Git checkout master, and then git pull. If you see this pull command, always it will give it will get the whatever the data it is available on the GitHub repository, and it will check your local, and it will make sure that always you have the server and your local copy will have the same data. That is the reason I just now added a tag, so you can see that information also it has pulled it. Now what I am going to do is from master I am going to create a some other branch. How I can create is git branch. So this is I am creating as a testing. Git branch testing I am creating. So it has created. Now I need to switch to the testing branch. What I can do is git checkout testing. Now it has switched to the testing branch. Now what I am going to do is I am going to add one more file to here. This is the testing branch. So if you want to see which branch we are in, git branch. So if you see star symbol, whatever it is available here, it is currently you are pointing to this particular branch. And total we have GitHub sub branch and master. These are the branches. So star is nothing but it is currently pointing here. Okay. Now what I am going to do is git first, sorry, I am going to add one file here. What the file I am going to add is add 3. This is added to testing branch. Okay. So now again I am going to add this file to this GitHub repository, local repository. So git add, what the file I have added, it is git add 3.txt, and I need to commit it. Git commit -m added add 3.txt to testing branch. Done. Now what I need to do is this testing branch is not yet created on the host, and that means on the remote repository. If you see here that a branch is so far whatever the branch it is showing is only master branch. So other branch it is not there. So what I am going to do is git push. Okay, so as I created this one is locally, I need to specify the remote origin also. One second, I will tell you how to do that. So in order to push it to remote repository, we can give the git push, and we need to give the GitHub repository URL. And then it will tell you it will ask for you to user ID and password. So you need to give the username Siva Java Techie and Shiva. Okay, now this will push it to your remote repository. Okay, so it has pushed, and if you see here, you can see one more branch. See, testing. So you can create a branch in your local and you can push it to your remote repository, or vice versa. You can create a branch in your GitHub repository and you can pull to your local. So this is how this is the complete life cycle how you can work with your GitHub to your local and local to your GitHub repository. And the strong feature of GitHub is going to have like a most of the like a merging and branching and versioning, and even you can have a remote and one more feature here is if you open any file, it is if you are adding a multiple lines of the code, then reviewer can directly add comments on the fly here. So that is even for the reviewers also it is very user friendly, where once you commit this code to your GitHub repository, then the reviewers can add the comments dynamically where the particular field it having or the code having the issue. Then no need of actually raising the review board request. In general, we are going to have a review board request, and then review board request will have a separate server, and then they have to taken care of all this latest version and all these things has to be taken care. But here it is very simple and user friendly. Hope you are clear with the GitHub, and if you have any questions, please comment on my YouTube video, and please do subscribe to my YouTube channel for to get more technical videos. Have a nice day.